reading for today is from John 15, verses 1 to 17, about us as grape clusters. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, and I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. There I stand corrected. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit that will last, and so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. This is my command: love each other.
Hi everyone, good to see you all today. If you haven't met, my name's Marion, pastor here at St Hilda's. Great to have you with us today. Enjoyed that little discussion of songs. I did look up the words for Who Let the Dogs Out, and I couldn't find the link, but I'll be giggling all day on that one. Anyway, the vine and the branches, remain in the vine. I'm not much of a gardener, personally. I don't know which plants should go where. I don't really have the patience for long-term plant management, but I'm pretty good at pruning. That is, if I get my clippers and my hedge trim or whatever, and I tend to not stop. Just keep going. If you see my house, there's lots to do. I really enjoy that. Keep going and going and going. There's just piles of stuff everywhere. So while I don't know much about gardening, I know enough to kind of follow what Jesus is talking about in this, as he talks about the vine and the branches. And he's got a very simple point. Simple point is, branches stay alive on the tree, and if you chop it off, it dies. Let me show you. I have here an example of the results of one of my past pruning attempts, which never got made it to the green bin. Here we go. How's this one looking? It's pretty dead. Now, I'm not an expert gardener, but I know why this is dead. It's because it's been chopped off. All right? This is very, very kind of clear. And you might be an expert. You might know much more than I do about gardening, or nothing at all. Either way, you know, for a branch to grow, what does it need? It needs to be connected to the tree. If you cut it off, it dies. Pretty obvious. Now, Jesus would be teaching people who know all this stuff as well. They're living in an agricultural society, so he often reaches for these images of seeds and plants and fruit and sheep and all that kind of stuff. And so the listeners will get the point of what he's saying as well. Now, there's lots in that bit of teaching, as Jesus was speaking about the things around that. There's so much there, but we just can't lose the simple main point. A branch connected to the vine lives and produces fruit. A branch broken off and disconnected withers and dies. A connected branch is fruitful. A broken branch isn't. And Jesus here says, I'm the vine. I'm the vine, and you are the branches. You need to stay connected with me. Remain connected with me always, till the end, and you'll have this life I have to give you. Super simple point that Jesus says. And remember, he's saying this to his friends. It's the night before he dies. It's that Passover meal where he's teaching them. He kind of started off by washing their feet. It was pretty confronting for them at the time. He's told them that he's leaving, but that they know how to come to him because he is the way, the truth, and the life. That was last week. He promises that he'll be with them. He'll send them the Holy Spirit. We'll come back to the Holy Spirit in a few weeks' time in a mini-series on that. But he continues in what we just had read to us. And in a way, nothing's changed, right? It's the same thing. Remain in me. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Stay connected to me, and you'll have this life. Now, sometimes when Jesus teaches, or when Paul teaches in the Bible, it can be hard to kind of figure out what his main point is, kind of nail it down to one thing. But here it's easy because Jesus keeps saying it. Anyone notice the word that was said several, like up to 10 times in that passage? Remain. Well done. That word is there. Remain, remain. If you're following a different translation, the ESV might say something like abide in there. Others will say dwell. And as Ellie was saying, it's this idea of making a home with, staying with, being there, and not leaving. We've had the imagery of Jesus preparing a place in the Father's house, this invitation into household and dwelling with Him. It's all the way through that passage. Remain in me, as I remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself; it must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. And so on. Remain, remain, remain. Down verse 9. Remain in my love. Remain, abide, dwell, make your home with me, and you will have life. Stick with Jesus. It sounds pretty simple. We could finish it there, but I'll talk a bit longer. But it's clearly very important if Jesus is going to keep saying this word over and over again. Why is it important? Well, the danger is real, right? Think about the very room Jesus is speaking into. Started off with 12, now there are 11 in that room as Judas has walked away and has fallen away. Now we know the reality too. People who once appeared to be all in for Jesus, not sticking with him, people missing from our fellowships and our churches. We know there's danger moments. We think about this in terms of ministry and family and life, as kids go through high school and into kind of uni or the workforce. It's a kind of a danger moment for kind of falling away, disappearing from these fellowships. If you move town and never reconnect, maybe work and family squeeze out a life of faith. We know people didn't make it back after our COVID lockdowns, people who were once with us. We're aware of the disillusioned and the deconstructed and the distracted. This is a real thing, a real danger Jesus is addressing for as he taught people left as well. It's a thing. Now, I don't want to say that going to church equals remaining in Jesus. They're not the same thing. It's not all there is to it. I think it's just something that we can see most clearly. And I'm going to see from this passage that there's a real link between remaining with Jesus and remaining with his people. So on one hand, the danger is real, and so Jesus encourages his disciples and us, remain, abide, dwell, make your home with him. But on the other side, there's also a great joy on offer. Because of this, there's a danger of losing this life, but on the other hand, there's this amazing joy available. Jesus says, I'm telling you all this so that my joy might be in you and your joy might be complete. All this is good for you. It's for your joy. It's for your life. It's for your flourishing. So make your home with me, Jesus says, and you'll have life. Like a branch connected to the tree. Don't fall away. We're going to dig a little deeper into what Jesus is saying here. We'll look under two headings, fruitfulness and friendship. Fruitfulness and friendship. Firstly, let's think about fruitfulness and what that might mean. Jesus says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it might be even more fruitful. Now, as well as being kind of familiar with vines, because they're around the place where they were, they're also familiar with the Old Testament. Jesus' hearers would know about that, and they'd know about vines and grapes and wine, all being symbols of God's blessing. At other times, the vine was used to kind of even talk about the nation. Psalm 80, for example, if you look at that, the nation is a vine transplanted out of slavery, out of Egypt, planted in its place, tended to by God, but in its unfaithfulness and judgment, other nations are shown to be taking its fruit, its garden walls are trampled. It's the image there. The branches are burnt. It's this image of Israel as this failed vine. But Jesus comes and says, I am the true vine. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. I'll read it again. It says, He, the Father, cuts off every branch that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Here's a bit where it might feel a little bit scary. What's going on here? And apart from that, it was also a bit confusing. You know, he says, my Father's the gardener. He prunes the branches to make them fruitful. You are already clean. You kind of think, what's the link there? How did he get from prune to clean? And we'll miss it because we're not reading this in Greek. But the word for both those words is essentially the same thing. It's a bit of a word play. It's a kind of matching up thing going on there. So, you know, if you're pruning a tree, you're cleaning it in the way they spoke about it. So it says the Father cleans the fruitful branches, making them more fruitful. And Jesus turns to his disciples and says, you are already clean. You have already been pruned. You're already cleaned and fruitful because of the word I've spoken to you. Because of the word I've spoken to you. Because of my message. Because of what I'm doing. You're already cleaned, already fruitful. This is really important for us to catch, because if we miss it, we land ourselves in all kinds of trouble. We do that thing where we're kind of wondering, am I a fruitful branch or not? Am I fruitful or unfruitful? Because it says that the branches that bear no fruit, they're headed for the fire. Have I been fruitful enough? What does that look like? Have I loved enough? Have I served enough? Have I given enough? Have I told enough people about Jesus? Have I made my fruitfulness quota? But if we kind of go down that rabbit hole, we miss everything that Jesus has been saying, elsewhere. We've missed the whole good news. He's the one who cleans. He's the one who's the way. Now, plenty of faiths kind of have this idea that, take all your good things from your life, your maybe fruitfulness, you might call it, your good stuff, and you weigh it against the bad, and if the scales, if you do more good than bad, then you'll be okay, and if not, you're in trouble. But you go through life wondering, I don't know, which way is it going to go? There's no kind of peace, there's no security in that, and plenty of people live in that kind of fear. Plenty of faiths teach that that's kind of what happens. Have I been fruitful enough? How could you tell? It's a very normal human way of thinking. We like to think about what we contribute, how we kind of make ourselves good enough, and what we kind of add to the pile. But that's not the gospel. Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Not your works, not your efforts. I'm the one that washes you clean. You don't wash yourself. And here Jesus says to his disciples, you are clean by my word. He's kind of, a little while ago he washed them and said that you are clean, as he kind of did it with water. He looks forward to them being washed clean with his shed blood. He says, you guys, you're the ones that the Father prunes. You are already fruitful, and you will be fruitful because you are with me, because of my word, because of what I've done, because of what I will do as I go to the cross. I declare you clean. You are mine. Later it says, because you've been chosen. Because I've chosen you, not because you've earned it. So, first we've got to kind of take away that fear. Am I being fruitful enough? Is that what he's saying? No, that's not what gets us into the vine. And, if it was, right, if the command was, go and be fruitful enough, then I think Jesus would say it. He doesn't say, go be fruitful. The command we get time and time again is remain. Remain, 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 remain. That's what you need to do. And if you do, then you will be fruitful. You will be. Now, this idea of fruitfulness kind of carries a lot of things in it. Kind of carries this idea of blessing, producing blessing, reproducing good things. Fruit's always been kind of a big image all the way through the Bible. And we think of the trees and the vines and those kind of things. And there's a way that Christian fruitfulness, there's a kind of internal element where we're being renewed ourselves. We talk about the fruit of the Spirit elsewhere in the Bible and think about, our transformation growing in love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and faithfulness and gentleness and self-control. And we think, about how we kind of grow within ourselves, but all those things happen in community with other people. And it's easy to be patient when there's no one else around. But if you're growing in patience, that's with other people as well. Fruitfulness is about growing these fruit among us. It will overflow into our relationships with others. And fruitfulness is about growing and reproducing, and as Jesus calls the disciples to make more disciples, that's no doubt part of it. Helping people find life in this vine. Remember, Jesus just said not long ago that the disciples will do what he's been doing and do greater things as well. Greater things because he's going to the cross and going to the Father. And so fruitfulness kind of includes all these things that bring glory to God. This is my Father's glory, he says, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. So yeah, we see what good fruit is, and it's good to bear spiritual fruit, but what's the command? The command isn't, go be fruitful. The command is, make your home with me, and you will bear fruit. If you remain in me, and I in you, you'll bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. You can do nothing without Jesus. You can't bear this kind of fruit that will last without Jesus. You can't do that without Jesus, but the good news is we're not without Jesus, we have him. And what an amazing thing to kind of be brought into. What power if we are connected with Jesus. What an ally to have. What a privilege. What foolishness to go it on our own. Remain in me, Jesus says, and you will be fruitful. This will show that you're my disciples. And not just disciples, not just servants, but friends. As Jesus kind of talks about this, it's no surprise that he kind of zeroes in on this thing that shows people that that they are his disciples. This key expression of spiritual fruit we keep coming back to, and that is love. Love, this foundation of our friendship with God, with each other. Love which encapsulates all the commands. Love God, love each other, that's it. We're called to be brought into that, into this friendship, into this love. As the Father has loved me, Jesus says, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I've told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You're my friends if you do what I command. Now again, really kind of encouraging, but also you got to think, right? If I was to say this, it would sound a bit wrong, wouldn't it? If I said to my wife or my kids, I'll only love you if you obey my commands, that wouldn't go down very well. What if I told my friends, you can be my friends as long as you obey me unconditionally? Wouldn't have many friends. How quickly would our church empty if I said, look, I'm the pastor, you've got to do exactly what I say? Yeah, good luck to me on that one. But it's not me speaking. It's not me speaking. It's Jesus. And if Jesus is God with us, honestly, he has the right to call his people servants and creatures. That's what they are. But what does he do? He calls us friends. He calls us friends. And we kind of use the word friends pretty casually. In those days, the language of friendship had much higher significance, so kind of a, mutual obligations and, a public relationship of friendship. He brings us to that level, calls us his friends. And being Jesus, he has the right to call for our obedience. But notice what he's saying. He's not saying, do what I say or I'll withhold my love. Do what I say or I'll withhold my love. He's saying, here's my command. Stay in my love. Stay in my love and love each other. It's not a harsh command. In fact, it's an invitation. A beautiful invitation once you see it. And it's an invitation to be drawn into, to take part, to dwell, to live in the most wholesome and pure and satisfying and perfect love around. What we're invited to here, Jesus invites us into his own relationship with his Father, into this loving relationship of the Godhead, the Trinity, this perfect love between Father and Son. You notice it says that as the Father loves me, so I love you, remain in this love. Jesus calls for obedience, but doesn't do anything, calls to anything he doesn't do himself, because he lives in obedience. Come and live in this obedient love as I am in this obedient love. Obedience that we see in Jesus to the point of death, not built on duty or against his will, but in this relationship of love. Jesus knows that this obedience that even leads to the cross, will lead to joy. My joy will be in you, my disciples, as I rescue you. My joy is in you as I make you clean, as I bring you in. This will complete my joy, and it's a joy I'm inviting you to share in. Know my love. Make your home in it. Show it. You know how much I love you, he says. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Jesus calls them to that, but then in a couple of hours' time will put his money where his mouth is. They will see they really are Jesus' friends as he lays down his life for them and for us. He calls us to live in this love. It will remain in my love, he says. Follow my commands. And what's the most important command? Love each other. Let me draw you into this family, this relationship, this love that is for you and in me and flows to others and each other as well. It's an amazing invitation to live in God's love, to show this to each other, to stay in it, to not drift away from it. We see in this that this Christian life is not a solo thing. It's not a personal spiritual journey where I might just kind of choose what I want God to be to make me feel good, or how involved I want to get, what spiritual things I want to kind of add to my life to make me feel better. And we talked last week, this Christianity thing, it's not a system to make life better. It's not a philosophy or a way to think. It's not a moral code to sign up to. It's a response to a person. It's a response to Jesus. It's a real and deep and abiding relationship drawn into his love, his commands. And, by his goodness and his grace, he produces fruit in us. He grows us. He brings us into part of his work. So it's not just me and God in this vine relationship. It's not just my relationship, me and the vine, as much as that's very important. This vine must be a growing togetherness between the branches. Because Jesus singles out this most clear thing that shows you're part of this: love each other. To abide with Jesus is to abide with his family too. We can each kind of ask ourselves, how are we going? Are we abiding with Jesus? Are we living in him, remaining in him, making our home in him? Or are we looking for a home elsewhere? Are we looking for a kind of a life source somewhere else or from within? It can be hard to tell sometimes. Even hard to tell for ourselves at times. I mean, remember this branch I showed you before? Like, if I had to ask you, is it living or dead, you have a pretty clear kind of idea, but this one I just broke off yesterday. Looks pretty good, yeah? Which one is more dead? Is it? They're both dead. They're both disconnected. They're both going to, they're as just cut off from the life of the tree as each other, and this will end up like that before too long as well. But it looks good. It's hard to tell. Goodness knows, Judas looked like probably a pretty faithful disciple for most from the outside, but his home and his heart had not been with Jesus for some time. We're making our home with Jesus. We're looking for life elsewhere. This drift can be imperceptibly slow, but it's real. Now that my eldest child is in his teens, I kind of think more about the reality that it's not going to be in my household forever. And that's fair enough. I don't live with my parents anymore. But thinking about this, there's a point where maybe technically they'll leave, although sometimes they come and go a bit. But there's a point where they'll leave my household. But already he's leaving in a way, learning to travel further afield by himself. Some of you are going through this, teaching kids to drive and giving them that extra freedom to decide where they want to go. There'll be more and more times that, family events clash with his plans. There'll be the family holiday that doesn't make it to. There's this growing independence that happens, and kind of, hopefully a growing ability to fund it themselves, though I hear that lags behind usually. But you know the story, you've lived the story, you've done it yourself, you've seen it in others as well. It's a gradual series of choices as they leave a household, leave the vine, leave the family cash flow, whatever it might be. And it could be alone, it could be another family. And there's something kind of natural and normal about that in our world, even if it's hard, but it's slow. But I was thinking about leaving the household that Jesus is talking about. And it can just be, this is something that's not natural and not good, because we can't find life like this elsewhere. But again, it's just a series of just little things, little choices, little steps, little decisions, little votes for which way we're going. So think for yourself, where am I making my home? What am I looking for my life and my significance? Is it Jesus? Is it somewhere else? What direction am I walking in? This can take some self-assessment, some honesty. I mean, like I said, the recently cut branch looks great. But I don't know, think about it for yourself. And again, this is not about our performance, making ourselves right with God. We will go through ups and downs. We will make bad decisions. We live in broken lives, broken by sin. But we're called just to remain, to keep coming back to Jesus. And part of that we can see is in the fruit of our lives, how that is going. So if you want to ask yourself, you can ask yourself, well, am I growing in the fruit of the Spirit myself? In love, in joy, in peace, and patience, and kindness, and goodness, and faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. We make thousands of decisions every day and every week, and we make those little decisions. Which way are we going? What wins the battle between me scrolling on my phone or reading my Bible? Spoiler, it's not always my Bible. The choice between prayer or procrastination, or just pushing through yourself. How are we going with Jesus' command to love one another? What steps are we taking towards being with and loving God's people? Are we stepping towards that, or are we stepping away from that? I was talking to a group of ministers just earlier in the week, and it's kind of inevitability. We're kind of going, how's it going? How's church going? And this inevitability, as it gets colder, all our churches, it's going to kind of drop a little bit in terms of people coming along. People will stay at home, won't go to church, won't go to growth group. And we kind of thought, does it have to be this way? And look, I just want to say, health, mobility, they're all barriers. People do get sick in the colder months. Please keep your infectious diseases at home. We've got live stream, you can catch up. But I also know that, and because I see this, people who want to be with God's people make a way to get there. I know this because I see, particularly in the maybe the earlier service, I see these people battling their way up the hill with sticks and with walkers, because they have parked very close, in all kinds of weather. And you think, wow, you came today because you want to be with God's people and you want to hear from God's word together. Plenty of people who you kind of think, you've earned the right to stay at home. So I've seen this kind of this desire. It's a beautiful thing. Other times I see, families arrive maybe a bit late, but it's been pouring rain and they're covered in raincoats and prams and everything, but you could have made it. When you could have stayed home and stayed dry. And so I see it. I see it in you. I see it in our church. This kind of desire to be with each other and love each other, not just for what you get, but for what you give to each other. So how are you thinking about, how are you feeling about being with God's people? Not just for you, but for each other as well. I'm thinking about abiding. I'm thinking about, we were talking about our kids before and how we'd love them to keep abiding. I think what a great thing we can do is model abiding. Those of you with kids or grandkids, it's a great thing to show what this abiding looks like. Let me tell you, I'm so grateful. As a kid myself, we never decided if we're going to go to church or not. To be honest, it was a revelation at some point when I realized that you could decide. I just thought, is that a decision you can make? I was just blew my mind. When did they decide not to come to church? I mean, it wasn't a choice given to us, which I'm really grateful for in hindsight. We had Bible studies at our house, even if it was inconvenient. Meals were always prayed over and serving was modelled and encouraged. I think living in this vine is something we can model and we can pass on. We can encourage each other. We can encourage ourselves. We can encourage our families. We can encourage our church as we do this together. There's a lot of things there you can think about. I don't know what I've triggered for you to think about or to pray about or to what steps you want to think about yourself. But in the complexity of all that Jesus says here, it's a very simple call, a simple question. Will I make my home? Will I find my life in Jesus? It's an amazing privilege that we have to be able to be here at all. You know, we're branches. We are ones that Jesus calls friends. Ones that are pruned and God works through and bears fruit through. We're those that are invited into this amazing relationship of love. Will we know it? Will we seize it? Will we live in this reality? Again, I'll give you just a moment just to reflect on this for yourself, and I'll pray in just a moment. Father, I ask that we'd see the invitation that Jesus offers us. We'd see its goodness, and we'd see the joy that Jesus has in us and the joy that's available to us. Joy doesn't mean smooth paths and easy decisions. The next thing Jesus would do would be to go to the cross for his friends. But I pray that you would show us the goodness of the life that you have. May we decide to remain in the vine, and as that decision, may you hold on to us in the vine, whatever that might look like. May we see where we're looking for life elsewhere, and may we keep coming back, making our home with you. Father, thank you that you welcome us with open arms, no matter what, no matter where we've been or what we've done. We're not beyond your love, we're not beyond your reach, we're not beyond this call to be in the vine and to remain with you. So, Father, may we take you up on your offer and abide with you. Amen.